Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're showing off our Prismatic Hunter build just because I think this could be the next go-to Hunter build considering Invis has been nerfed. Invis is still pretty good, honestly after the nerf, but I think other classes on Hunter are going to be a little bit more competitive or at least relative towards Invis Hunter these days. Obviously those would be Solar Hunter and Prismatic Hunter. We're going to look at Prismatic Hunter today just because this was really hard meta before. Um, a lot of prismatic nerfs and the on the prowl introduction to PvP. So it's going to be a pretty standard setup where we have Threaded Spectre. Obviously, really nice for body blocking, fake radar ping, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, still a great aspect to be using. And then the slow dodge, or when you dodge nearby somebody, they're going to get slowed, so their handling is going to be worse. They're not going to be able to sprint. They're going to be it's really hard for them to deal with the slow that this provides, especially when you have like a shotgun and you have the clone in front of you. So these aspects work really well together, especially in like close quarter situations. Now, there's a couple different ways you go with the grenade. I've actually been leaning more towards magnetic grenade. I feel like the damage you get when you stick somebody is really valuable. It's 75 and explodes twice. So it's around 150 damage if you stick somebody. You can still throw it next to the floor or where somebody's standing at. It'll still do solid damage even if you don't stick them. It's a good way to flush people out of certain areas on the map. Obviously, you could still go something like Dustfield Grenade, really nice, to cover reses and trials especially. Slowing enemies, holding down certain choke points. This is really a strong grenade as well. It also comes back for a little bit faster. So, Dustfield Grenade really strong. Arc Bolt's pretty good too, but you gotta invest in like the jolting fragment, I'd say, for these to be really good. Plus, I feel like these are like a little bit less reliable in terms of like how close people have to be to actually get tagged. So I've been leaning away from arc bolt grenades, but if you're like practiced with arc bolt grenades, then these definitely are really good. Grapple, I would stay away from just because it doesn't really have the strand synergy, like no threat of ascent or anything like that, or the increased I think what's it called, Widow Silk on Strand Hunter that gives it the extra charge. So you can stay away from this. And swarm grenades are kind of nerfed. They're really easy to break, so probably not as good either. So I'd definitely go either magnetic, arc bolt, or dustfield. Smoke bomb, really strong. I actually might go to knife trick. These actually just got buffed, really strong. I love pairing these with a shotgun. But smoke bomb, obviously, I think is probably what we're just going to use for the video here, just because it's the classic. Throw a smoke, fake ping. Even if it doesn't slow people, it still weakens and blinds them. It's basically just a second grenade, a really nice melee ability. Threaded Spike, also really good as well, just because it's a nice little range melee. I haven't tried Withering Blades, they got buffed, but this could be pretty strong as well. Extra tracking, slow is always nice, but I think really your best options are Smoke Bomb, Knife Trick, or Threaded Spike. Obviously Gambler's Dodge to get our melee ability back, and Strafe Jump for better movement. And super-wise, I think the best option here is going to be either Tether or Silence and Squall. I really like Silence and Squall just because, obviously, with the Prismatic change, these supers are going to charge a little bit faster. And this super is already among the fastest charging supers in the game. So this super can be really nice to use. Really good for shutting down. Other supers can freeze people. Great zoning super as well with the Tornado, really strong. Fragment-wise, most of these are just stat-boosting fragments, I'd say. The only one that's super important that isn't really a stat boosting fragment, I would say, is Fast of Blessing. So whenever you get a melee kill with your regular punch or your melee ability, you'll just get your health back, so really strong. And then I think the key thing for this build, if you don't want to use, that sets it apart from like the other hunter builds, is the use of the exotic class item. Really do like using Spirit of the Ophidian just to make it feel like you're on a warlock. Crazy handling for all your weapons, they feel insanely good. And then I also like Spirit of the Coyote, so you get additional dodge. More dodges also means more access to your melee abilities, especially when you're using Gambler's Dodge. And additional Threaded Specters is always nice. There's a lot of different weapons you can go with. I'm just going to use a Rose here and the Inquisitor just because it's new. But obviously, I think probably the best is probably going with like Chaperone and an Igneous, or Chaperone and a BXR, or a Redrix and the Inquisitor. But if you do happen to keep your exotic slot open with your primary and your secondary, you can always go Truth, which I think is the best heavy weapon now, especially for trials, since you get 2 rockets. It also has, if any of you guys played Destiny 1, you guys realize how good grenades and horseshoes is. Just being able to blow up on proximity is just ginormous for a heavy weapon, especially a rocket launcher. But yeah, guys, we're just gonna get straight in the gameplay here. That was kind of a long-winded intro, kind of breaking down the build, but we're gonna get straight in the game. I definitely recommend, again, higher like mobility for your dodge, higher grenades, and intellect so you can kind of spam your abilities. But yeah, guys, let's get straight in the gameplay. All right, guys, looks like we're loading to a match in progress. That's okay. This will still be good enough. It's still early enough in the match here. It's 2 taps. We'll keep this video nice and short to the point so I don't take too much of your guys' time here. We'll clean them up with our rows. And we'll take the headshot. Awesome. This lone wolf opening shot, Inquisitor, money, guys. This thing is disgusting. This isn't even like the adept version or anything, so you definitely get a little bit better than this. We'll be grinding, definitely for sure. Make sure I get a good one of these. Hopefully, Trials this week is on a good map. I feel like we've had Trials on Jab in a really long time. We'll see. I think that's my favorite part about this build is probably... Oh, we almost died to this. Saw the glint and I... A little bit slow to react there. I think my favorite part of this build, though, is, again, the Prismatic class item. Having Ophidians on a Hunter just makes it feel so good. It's a good challenge. Let's get the gun. Because, like, this rose normally has 52 handling. I know that it's Eye of the Storm, so whenever he gets shot, we're gonna get some handling, but the passive 35 to handling at all times, it makes such a huge difference. Such a huge difference. Okay, we are... Oh, we killed him with the Threat Inspector, though. We'll take that as he tried to shadow diving down to clean us up. That was pretty funny. Throw a smoke there. We're kind of getting pinched here. Nice job, teammate. Let's try a troop rocket here. Awesome. 2 taps. Couldn't quite get him with the stick. I've really been liking the stick grenades, especially the fusion grenades. I've been using that a good amount on my Warlock. They use so much damage. I mean, they're nothing like their D1 counterparts where they would just one-shot people. But I feel like they still do a ginormous chunk of damage. Even if they don't one-shot. And with the slow from our slow dodge. That guy's 20 HP. Okay, hello? No. For a slug out. Wow, isn't that just disgusting how good these things are, guys? I think I got mapped from so far away. That's just Lone Wolf opening shot doing all that work. So now I have her super pretty quick into this match. Let's just solo super this guy. We are not above solo supering people on this channel here, guys. Definitely not. We do have Transcendence here, so we can actually let's throw a grenade and then pop it, and then that way we can get a full refund on our grenade. So just about to get our grenade. Let's pop it. Smoke them. Perfect. Kind of a dirty build, but This kind of goes to show how strong Invis was, that people were not using the builds like this anymore. Still very, very good. Even after On the Prowl was nerfed, Invis definitely still pretty strong. Especially if you build craft into it with, like, you know, an Omnioculus or a Graviton. Or, you know, RDM still putting huge work because, you know, you get your dodge back with those primary kills. That was definitely a little bit too far away. We're hunted by a scout rifle. Let's see. That's 1 HP. Oh, we stuck him. Oh, almost. Again, I think you need, like, the combos, like a hand cannon headshot, and then the magnetic grenades can clean them up. I mean, they still do a good amount of damage, 150 damage, so that's basically all of their health. So they just have a little bit of chip damage. The grenades will clean them up. Oh, we don't have a dodge. I do have only 70 mobility, but whenever I have my rows out, because of the lightweight frame bonus, I'm actually at like 90 mobility instead, so you kind of use that to build craft into your other stats. If I have 80 mobility, that would definitely be a little bit better, because then I'd be perfectly at 100. I think that'd be a little bit more ideal. But because, again, you have the Prismatic class item with multiple dodges, I'm actually still charging my second dodge while the first one was already ready, so it doesn't actually feel like the dodge cooldown is that long. Even though, like, on paper it should be. Especially with the Prismatic ability cooldown changes that have happened. That's looking good. We kind of brought back the match here. Can we get 150? Yes, we can. Oh, took a little bit so long to react to that. The Inquisitor and the Rose definitely still a nice combo. I think if I was playing in Trials, I'd probably use Hawkmoon, because then you like the cheesy one-shot too, but definitely a solid match there. We'll take that. Alright, guys, so if you're a Hunter player, don't really feel playing Invis anymore, and you're kind of worried about what is going to be like another top tier meta like PvP option, I really think Prismatic Hunter can definitely hang. You can really build craft it any way you want, again, because, you know, it's Prismatic. I definitely would keep with Winter Shroud and Threaded Spectre. I think these are the best combination of aspects, and they're a little bit more synergistic than any of these other aspects. Stylus Executioner could be have some niche use with some build crafting. There's one fragment, I believe. Let me find it here. It's this one. So like if you land like this with Thorn, you can debuff people and then get the Stylus Executioner up pretty frequently. But again, this is like something where you need kills to you know, be effective. These are kind of up all the time. So I think this is really still the best combination of aspects. Grenade wise, again, really personal preference, but really I'd go with Magnetic, Dusk, or Arc Bolt. And then again, I think with the throwing knife buff, you can, I think Smoke Bomb is still the best option, but there's now like more like viable choices. And again, we really have a nice strong super science this wall, so really strong build still. Definitely look out. I think there's gonna be a lot more Prismatic Hunters in Trials this week with those Invis nerfs, but thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys next time.